Thank you all for being here today. It's a very special day here in Walton County. We have the opportunity to honor and pay tribute to our county's namesake, Colonel George Walton. Several months back, the BCC commissioned local artist John Grice to replicate through his art Colonel Walton's picture that will be on display here in the courthouse. John Grice is a native of Walton County, growing up in the Red Bay community, son of Johnny and Eunice Grice of Red Bay, a graduate of Walton High School, LSU College of Art and Design. Mr. Grice taught at Walton High School for almost 40 years and was a teacher at Okaloosa Walton Community College for 30 years. So we're very happy and pleased that we have Mr. Grice's rendering here in the courthouse that we're going to unveil. It's going to be a very special part of our community and here in this courthouse forever and ever. And so this is a really neat honor and distinction, and we're happy to be here to celebrate that. Commissioner Glidewell, you want to give us a little history on Colonel Walton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colonel Walton was one of our founding fathers. He was a signatory of one of the best or most important documents that was ever created by man, the Declaration of Independence. And he was a very driving force behind Georgia joining the Revolution, becoming one of the 13 colonies. He had a very distinguished career in Georgia. And so his son, George Walton Jr., and there's a little discrepancy or disturbance about who actually is named after, but his son George Jr. was the secretary to the territorial governor of Florida after Florida was sold by Spain to the United States. So Colonel Walton is probably, though, after 200 years of research, is probably the namesake because some of the old documents named or said that the Walton that we're named after died in 1804, which was this George Sr. So we're very proud to be named after such a distinguished man, such an important man. There was only 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence, and George Walton was one of them. And that's a very important piece of history. So now we're going to listen to Mr. John Grice, and he was, I know he doesn't look old enough, but he was one of my teachers in high school. And he was always entertaining. So we're going to turn it over to Mr. John Grice. Thank you.
I had to walk from Argyle to get a park. I thought they were unveiling a Da Vinci or something. But anyway, I talked about half of my life. I'm 80 years old. And I was wondering why Ron Kelly contacted me. And he probably thinks I remembered the guy. But a little bit more on the founders. Did the 56, we think that 15 of them died in the Revolutionary War or the effects of it. 13 of them's homes were burned, and 5 of them's wives were imprisoned by the British. And this guy was 26 years old. He was the youngest one. There was another one, 26, but he was a little younger. And can you imagine having to put your name on that document knowing what was coming? And it took a lot of bravery. And he put it on there, and then later he fought at the Battle of Savannah, got wounded in the leg, and I think stayed in the prison camp 10 months. So he was a true patriot and a young one. Now, when we started this, he was pre-camera, because you can imagine the old art teacher trying to come up with some guy's face that nobody has seen. And so Ron and I looked at old portraits and things, and most of them, they're all over Georgia. See, there's a Walton County, Georgia. And so most of them are middle age. You know, a lot of them are, profiles and all kinds of things. The ones in color look tinted, and so I needed to come up with something that would, number one, be different, Number 2 would be right in your face, looking you in the eye, and bold like the young man was. Well, we finally found something I could work from. And there it is, AI. On the AI, they have all the founders telling about themselves. And his picture's much older than 26, but he's talking to you, looking at you, and I use that face knowing that the facial recognition stuff would give us some stuff about facial proportions. Well, we found out that one eye is a little higher than the other one, like most of you, if we checked you. And he had a little pouty lip, a little pouty thing going, and I didn't want him frowning, and I didn't want him smiling, but I want him head on, looking at you. Well, then I had to come up with something in the background. So being a teacher, I wanted kids and students to be able to look at it and get the history by the parts. So I put the Betsy Ross flag behind him, and over his other shoulder I put the Independence Hall. Over to the side I put his signature, and down at the bottom I put where it says the Declaration of the United States of America. And I learned a lot of new things studying this. And one thing we wanted some type of artwork that you could reproduce or have to put in the schools if they wanted to. And I didn't want to do just a portrait of a fella and then put it up. They said, who's that fella? They'll know when they look at this. So that's all I got to say. I'm honored to do this, and I hope you enjoyed it, and look over it and see all the parts, because it's all in the details.